Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. My name is Erica. I'm a Customer Success Manager at Sonder, and I'm really excited to spend the next 30 minutes with you to talk through what you have available to you as a user of Sonder from your employer. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we move through. Everyone on the call is on mute, so don't worry about taking a phone call or eating a bag of chips. We won't hear you. But we also invite you to use the QA function to enter all of your questions that you might have as we go through the material today. You have the ability to submit your questions anonymously, so make sure you select that if you don't want your name to be seen. And again, we invite interaction through that QA function for you to interact with us and ask your questions as we go through today's presentation. Firstly, taking an understanding on what well-being is, it is a holistic principle, right? We've based our idea of well-being on Te Whare Tapawha, which is a New Zealand health principle. The idea is that the house, the whare, has four walls, tapawha, and that in order for an individual to be well, the house representing the individual, all four walls need to be in good repair for that person to be well. And so we're talking mental and emotional well-being is important, but not enough. Physical well-being, spiritual well-being, or consider that personal values, and also social well-being, our connectiveness to other people. Really important that all of these things are looked after in order for an individual to be well. Sonder's model of care takes in this holistic view of well-being through safety support, through mental health support, and through medical support. Again, providing support beyond just one wall, which might be just some counselling sessions, but making sure that the entire individual and the entire situation they are going through or living through is able to be supported through Sonder. Also, when we think about well-being, it's actually not a static state. We don't sort of, do all the right things and arrive at healthy and live there for the rest of forever. Sometimes a pandemic hits the world and changes our circumstances. Sometimes situations and circumstances, we might lose people close to us and then suffer grief where previously we were potentially healthy. Sometimes it's our own behaviours where we ignore signs of stress or burnout that send us sort of more to the red side of a wellbeing spectrum versus staying in the healthy side. And the opposite is also true as we invest in healthy behaviours, healthy eating patterns, exercise, daily walks, all of those things have the ability then to help us with our four-walled house to stay more on the healthy side of the spectrum. The important thing when we talk about Sonder and what I want to help you understand today is that actually no matter where you fall on that wellbeing spectrum, you might be healthy. You will have access to resources and support within the app that will meet you in your healthy state versus, needing some additional support or resources for something that you're going through, right through to potentially critical support that you might find being in need of. So within the app, we have digital support or digital features, and then we also have digital and human support, the people who sit behind that app who are there 24/7 ready to help you. We're going to start with the digital support, and we're going to look at the proactive messages and notifications that get sent from Sonder, and also the wellbeing resources you have access to within the app. So when we look at safety notifications, there are a range of safety notifications that get sent out to our members based on where they are located. It might be that a severe weather front is coming through and you might consider parking the car in the garage because a hailstorm is happening. It might be a fire alert during those peak fire seasons in summer. It could be a police operation. Could be a natural disaster. Any of these things would mean that Sonder would send an alert to you based on your location. Now, if there's a fire in Newcastle and I'm in Sydney, I don't get that notification because it's not relevant to where I am located. One of the stories I heard from one of our members who decided to act on one of these safety notices that came out. It was a severe weather storm notification. They brought in the outdoor furniture. They parked the car in the garage, and their final comment there was, if I hadn't have done it, I'm sure that there would have been some damage. So saved from insurance, excess claims, inconvenience of not having a car, the opportunity cost of acting on that safety notification really sort of impacted that member in a really positive way. Then we've got our wellbeing resources. Now, this is a whole library of curated articles on loads of topics, beyond probably what you can imagine, that you might be facing. You might be dealing with people in your life that have autism and you're not sure how to deal with them, and you can jump in the app and find an article on dealing with autism or what it is. It might be, how do I get people to eat more vegetables, or my kids to eat more vegetables? Jump in the app and see that this curated content that lives within Sonder is available to you. There's also wellbeing assessments, which is a general scan of your inner world, or your mental world, your physical world, your outer world, and your social connectiveness. And also the depression, anxiety, and stress scale assessment that you can take to measure those three things: depression, anxiety, and stress. Now, once you've taken the actual assessments that live within the app, Sonder will actually surface recommendations based on the outcomes of those assessments that you take. So I can't stress enough the importance of taking wellbeing assessments, if for no other reason than to take a pause in your life and think about where you're at on your own wellbeing journey, and then maybe take that extra 5 minutes. For me, I'm constantly getting suggestions to read how to sleep better. And it gives me a list of 10 things to eliminate to get a better night's sleep. When speaking with another one of our members who was an anxious individual, she decided, I'm going to take the DAS21. I'm going to see how I'm feeling. And as entering the assessment, she felt, yeah, I'm feeling a bit stressed, a bit anxious. But actually, she got quite a concerning result based on her anxiety following taking that DAS21 assessment. Now, for her, she didn't want to reach out for support. She didn't want to talk to anybody. But what it showed her in that moment was actually she wasn't doing as well as she maybe thought she was, and she needed to pay a bit more attention and input a few more strategies to bring her anxiety levels down. So again, that idea of catching herself upstream before it became something where she might have needed some more critical support. Just taking a cheeky moment to remind you that if you have any questions based on any of the content that we share, to drop them into the Q&A within the webinar, and we'll get to those at the end. Next, let's have a look at the digital plus human support that sits within the app. So this is our safety features. These are the care specialists and the registered nurses and mental health professionals that sit behind the app and the expert care you have available to you. When we look at the safety features within the app, we have a map that you can check. So again, safety notifications are sent based on your location. If I'm located in Canberra, but I'm planning to travel to Sydney for business, I won't know what has happened in Sydney until I open my map and have a look at what notifications have been sent out to that Sydney area to make informed decisions on the plans that I make with my travel. We also have two features within the app: Check on Me and Track My Journey. Now, Check on Me is a point in time check-in. It is an event is happening. I potentially might be unsafe. And if I don't check in by the agreed time, Sonder, please check in on me to make sure that I am safe. So think about buying and selling on Facebook Marketplace, or putting yourself out there for a new online date and you're meeting that person for the first time. It might even be that I'm going on a bushwalk by myself. I'm experienced, I'm expert, but it should take me 2 hours. So if I haven't checked back in 3 hours, check on me. It might be a scenario like that. But any time where an event is happening and you should be safe by said time, Sonder is able to escalate if you haven't checked back in at that agreed time within the app. That the escalation pattern will be, they will escalate, you know, to in-app pushes. They might try to call or SMS. They might call an emergency contact. You know, the ways of escalation are varied depending on sort of your situation and how potentially risky or dangerous it is. But it might also mean that we send a responder to your site as well. Now, starting with the lighter side of Facebook Marketplace to sort of really bring this home, I absolutely love this meme of old mate here out putting himself in harm's way because the wife decided to sell the blender for $9 on Facebook Marketplace. Now, we all giggle because we've all, you know, gone halfway across the city for that $5 item that we've either bought or have invited potentially people to our home to purchase things that you are selling. But the not so funny side of it is that there have been some really dangerous interactions off the back of, you know, and this is just Facebook, not necessarily anything else. So just a reminder that having access to safety tools in a world that is becoming more and more unsafe really gives you peace of mind, and gives you peace of mind potentially for those that you care about as well. Track My Journey is, again, a safety feature. The escalation pattern, I suppose, is the same in the sense that they reach out to you in-app to make sure that you're good, bad, or indifferent. But it's going from point A to point D. I am here, I am going there. Please make sure I head in the right direction and take about the right amount of time. What happens in the background is, for both Check On Me and Track My Journey, is a support case opens in the support centre, and our team are there to make sure that, you know, for Track My Journey, you're heading in the right direction and are taking about the right amount of time. Now, I actually heard a really funny member story that had a really happy ending, but they were in a new city heading towards one of the main train stations in that city, and the care specialist that was viewing and the safety team saw that this individual actually had started heading in the exact opposite direction to where they'd set Track My Journey. So started the Track My Journey and maybe put the phone in the handbag and didn't watch the app. And so when they actually connected with that member and said, hey, look, you're actually heading in the wrong direction, is everything okay? And it was literally that they had been turned around, and they turned back around and then headed back to the station. So one of the nicer sides where safety isn't a massive risk, but just having that ultimate support through the Sonder Support Centre for these safety features. Now, everything within the app you are in control of. So, but one thing with the safety features is they are all dependent on location. We can't escalate and get you to safety if we don't know where you are. So when using these safety features, you'll either need to have your location settings on while you're using the app. Our recommendation for this is actually to have your location settings on all the time. Sonder is not watching you when you have not started a safety feature. And in terms of the notifications that we send out, you are a number on a map. So we know we've got some members in that area, so we should send safety notifications out to that. To give you confidence that, you know, nobody's tracking you, nobody's watching you when you don't want to be seen. You are in control, and we will only track your journey or check on you using your location when you interact with those features. Again, great time to pause and say, drop your questions into the Q&A so as we can come to those at the end of the session. Now, when you click on the Get Support button at the bottom, you can see there in the middle of your phone, this brings you through to our care specialists that are behind the app, our registered nurses, and our emergency responders are also 24/7. So those are our 24/7 staff that you have access to. Care specialists to I guess, understand and unpack what is going on with your situation. Registered nurses who are able to perform medical and mental health triage. And then our emergency responders who can be sent at any time for those safety escalations where people are unsafe and need support. By appointment are our mental health professionals. And again, you know, this is based on triage. So people who are at high risk get access to those mental health professionals in a fast and effective way. And these sessions are by appointment for everyone else. really important to highlight the confidentiality of your interactions with Sonder. So while your employer has provided this as a benefit to you, this is not about them getting information on you. Sonder is a registered health service provider, which means that we are bound to terms of confidentiality and privacy when it comes to our member medical and member records. So feel confident that when you're speaking to Sonder, that your information is personal and private, and the only outcome everybody is wanting for you is to get support when you need it, the right care at the right time. We also have our on-the-ground responders, which can be sent for emergency escalation safety features that are within the app. So that's the urgent help alert, the track my journey, check on me. Responders are also there to help our members through sort of more complex and difficult support cases. So they've been there with a victim of crime, or to provide a statement of interview, or in domestic violence situations as well. And then we support organisations as well with our responders for critical incidents, and to help identify members who are impacted by traumatic work events. So let's talk through what a support case might look like. So if you're up at 2 a.m. with a sick child, the options prior to having Sonder was maybe a quick look on Dr. Google, maybe if you had access to an after-hours GP, or you need to go to the emergency department. That's sort of the services you have available to you in those after-hour moments. Well, now Sonder gives you immediate access to medical professionals who can help assess the situation that you're going through and provide guidance and care. So reducing anxiety that you might be feeling at a time where you don't know what the solution is, especially in these medical cases with young children, I can only imagine. But Sonder also will be there to help you support your child in that moment that you need it. So when you hit chat or call, you'll first be connected to the support coordinators or our care specialists, who quickly and smoothly identify the nature of the situation. Now, if you prefer to speak your native language, and English is not a comfortable way of accessing support, we utilise Google Translate within the chat feature. So you can actually chat to us in your language, and we can respond in your language. So as you can see here, the conversation has turned to French. So again, the care specialist will provide that initial triage and put you quickly through to the nurse, who will then be able to give you further information. As you can see here, you can send photos directly within the app, or if you feel more comfortable, you can start a call with that nurse to talk through the situation. Now, if what you're experiencing is a medical emergency, Sonder can help you to identify that and help provide sort of guidance with where to get to and what next steps are. But we don't replace that requirement for emergency departments. But in cases where, you know, it's lower level medical, it's, as you see in this, a strange rash on a foot, the nurses can definitely provide sort of information on maybe home remedies or over-the-counter medications that can support you in those moments. I want to touch briefly on privacy, just to give you that additional level of confidence when you're talking to Sonder. It is as private as if you took yourself to the hospital or took yourself to the GP. We are accredited to operate in Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. And as a healthcare provider, a health service provider, we get audited to ensure that we're meeting sort of evidence-based quality care, continuous improvement, meaning our practitioners are up to date with current practices. But lastly, it's the confidentiality piece. A hospital can't share your medical record without your consent, neither can Sonder. So just to give you some more confidence that when you come through to Sonder and talk about things that will feel quite personal to you, that information is not shared outside of that interaction between you and Sonder. So again, cheeky reminder, I'll drop your questions into the Q&A function and we'll get to those at the end. I want to give you an idea of logging in to Sonder, what that feels like. The login process is quite simple. If you haven't downloaded it already, you can use the QR that you see there on screen. We're going to do a bit of a demo at the end, so you can do a walkthrough with me if you download the app. If you are not using single sign-on or SSO, your organisation is using an email, you will be asked to enter your work email or the email dictated by your company. If you're not sure, speak to your HR team. Once you enter that email, you will verify it by clicking on a link in your email to create a password, pass back to the app. You'll set your notification location settings, enter your phone number, and then you'll arrive into the app. You'll see your name and login is successful. SSO is quite similar, except for the fact that once you enter your email, you'll be passed back to the SSO to put in your work credentials and your work password. And then once that is authenticated, you'll be passed back to the app. So you'll be using your work credentials that you use for single sign-on applications. Now, if you have any troubles logging in, if you arrive at this screen that says, hey, enter a rego code, that's a big wrong way go back. So it means that we haven't recognised your email. So check with your HR team that your email has been uploaded. Otherwise, you can click on that need help button and the team at Sonder will happily help you. You can either email us or give us a call. So last reminder to drop in your questions in the Q&A. Otherwise, what we'll do is I'm going to take you on a tour of the app. This is a little video I've put together. I'll talk over the top of it, but let's have a look at the video. Sorry, let's come back. Here we go. All right, so when you are in the app, trouble playing, technical issues. So when you're in the app, this is what the home screen is going to look like. The first thing you see at the top is an need urgent help options. So when you open up that, you will come through to this screen here where you can either send an urgent help request to Sonder or you can send a help alert and call 000. Really important, if you need fire, ambulance and medical, 000 is where you need to go. We don't replace that, but we can support you with that. So that is what the urgent help button, it is urgent safety requirements where Sonder will mobilise quickly to make sure you're safe. Under that, we've got a search bar where you can come in and search for any content that you like. So here I've picked up vegetables randomly. You might get recipes, the benefits of eating vegetables, how to create a healthy shopping list. Under that, we've got select tiles that you can go into. So here I've gone into mental wellbeing. This is where you'll find the assessments as well. Here is the DAS21. You'll come in, start the assessment, go through the 21 questions and get the recommended outcomes or the outcomes and recommended content. So you can follow that assessment all the way through. Or you can view all topics, right? So if you're not sure what you're looking for, you might find it in this all topics. As you can see, there are a range of different topics that live within the app. There are also a couple of carousels designed just to surface content that might be relevant, recommended content. There'll be a spotlight carousel. So at the moment, we're spotlighting stress, and also a well-being series where you can sign up for a series of meditations or well-being related rich media. If we come into the safety tab, this is where those safety features live. Coming into track my journey, what you do here is it knows where you are because it's using your location. You tell it where you want to go. So I'm going to go to the leisure centre. Will I drive? Maybe I'll walk. Maybe I'll drive. And you click on let's go. So again, this is open that support case in the support centre who are going to monitor that I'm heading in the right direction and taking about the right amount of time and that I arrive safely and check back in. For the demonstration, we'll jump out of it. Then when we have a look at Check on Me, there are two options with Check on Me. You can either set a time to be checked in on. So I have a meeting finishing at 10:45. If I haven't checked in at 11, check on me. Or you can do a countdown. I've got a meeting for an hour. Give me 15 minutes to get out of it. If I haven't checked back, check on me at 1 hour, 15 minutes. Give some details of what's happening. So here I'm off on a date, right? In Elizabeth Street. And so I'm giving the support centre notice of why I've asked for a check on me. So that also gives them an indication on the severity, I suppose, of the escalation that might happen. So if I don't check in an hour and 15, Sonder will check in with me to make sure that I'm safe. And we'll just end the check on me and jump back out of it. Lastly is the map feature. So when you tap on the map, you can see not a lot happening in my area today. I've literally recorded this one this morning, but there's a bit going on in the city. So I might decide, you know what, I was going to take the Princess Highway through St. Peter's this morning. I'm not going to go because there is a traffic incident and I don't want to get stuck in traffic. So again, just designed to help you make decisions. Lastly, in the middle, sort of down the bottom, there is get support. Video's a bit ahead of me there, but you can start a chat or a call with our support centre directly in that get support feature down the bottom. Once you start the chat, our care specialists will connect with you to then try and understand what it is that you need support with. Or if you hit call, it'll open up either a 1-800 in Australia, 0800 if you're in New Zealand, and whatever the equivalent is in the UK, not sure, to enable you to call through to the support centre. Notifications are stored in this notifications tab. So if you have turned your notifications or your push notifications off, you can still come back and have a look at what notifications have been sent to your location. Again, our recommendation is that, especially for the safety notifications, you leave your notifications on. But again, you can come back and interact with any notifications we've sent previously. And lastly is the More tab. Firstly is the profile. Now, I encourage you to jump into the profile tab and complete as much detail as you feel comfortable with. The profile picture here is so as our on-the-ground responders know what you look like, so make sure it's a realistic picture. Put in as much of your personal details in there so they can support you better, right? That's the purpose of it. Residential address, emergency contact. If you're a parent or guardian, for somebody under 18 that you're sharing the app with, make sure you fill that in, and your membership details are there. Support chats are also saved here, again, as well as in that Get Support tab. You can regulate your location and notification settings from within here. So you can see here, I'm trying to change my location settings and then get a bit lost in my telephone. Notifications are the same. And then if you have Share Sonder, you can share that from there as well. More information about Sonder. So if you've got questions about Sonder, who is it? Who are we? How do you use us? When would you use us? You can come in and watch those videos. If you didn't really read the privacy policy when you went through that welcome onboarding, you can come and access that at any time, along with the end user terms or any of our legal policies that live in relation to your access of Sonder. And then also feedback. So here you can report a bug, ask a question, give us a suggestion, give us a compliment, or raise a complaint. Again, whenever you are using the feedback feature, we encourage you to give us as much detail as possible so that we can easily, respond to the feedback that comes through. So that essentially is the Sonder app and the app walkthrough. What I will do is I'll stop the share and I will pull out the Q&A, which I should have had open. So what if I don't want notifications from Sonder? So really good question. You can manage your notifications again from that settings field and turn off notifications, turn off the banners, turn off the push. You are in control of how and when you see those notifications. How often would you recommend we do that wellbeing assessment? Look, it's different for everybody, but I tend to try to remind myself to take it every month, just from the point of view of it's just a minute to ask yourself some questions that maybe I haven't asked myself this month. How am I doing? Am I stressed? Am I getting irritable? All of these things that are early signs of stress, before I get burnt out, right? So I would encourage, the more the merrier, but I try to do it for myself at least once a month. You mentioned that Sonder has my location and can track me. Is Sonder watching where I go? So there are two visuals that Sonder see of you in relation to your location. One is Erica is a number 1, 2. Well, I've shared Sonder with my husband, so if we're both at home, we're at number 2 out here, sort of in the southwest. The purpose for that visualization and being a number on the map is, should we send a safety notice? Do we have any members in that location that are engaging with Sonder? Yes, we'll send a safety notification, right? So there's a fire in Camden. Erica's sort of near to that. We'll send that push notification to her location. So again, it's not Erica. It's not Erica and her husband. It's a 1 and a 2 on a map. In relation to the safety features, so I've started a check on me. I've started a track my journey. I've started a support chat. I've started an urgent help alert. Again, I'm in the driver's seat, but then because I have my precise location settings to on, Sonder will be able to see my precise location. And the purpose for that is, if I need physical support, if I need a responder to come because I'm in urgent need of safety support, they know where to come to. Which is why we do recommend that you have your location settings on all the time. What's reported back to my boss or my company? So we do send anonymized and aggregated reporting. So people are using safety features. People are using our medical nurses and medical triage. People are accessing for wellbeing support or mental health support. We also give some utilization metrics. So, loads of people in that department have downloaded, and these seem to not be downloaded. But again, it's all aggregated and anonymous. So it's never Erica accessed for this particular reason. It's almost like the kind of stuff you'd see in an annual report, just bubbled up to the surface. And how much does it cost if a responder is sent out as part of an escalation? And will my employer know? So there is no cost to you, provided that it's been included as part of the inclusions in the service. And again, if you have some questions, speak to your HR team. So it's not at a cost to you. And if there is an arrangement in place where your employer will pay for a responder, then yes, they need to know about it in that instance. Is the service available to friends and family? So this is an option that your employer can enact. So I would ask you to go back to your employer and find out if friends and family has been included, especially if you're in a launch period. There'll be some collateral and material on that, probably internally as well. Can you use face recognition to log in? Great question. Not currently. I'll pass that one up to the team, the product team. Now, we have actually run out of time. There is one, well, thank you, very informative from an anonymous. And Adrian, there's a couple of questions from you that I will try and work back to you directly because I didn't get time to get to. I just looked at the time and realised I'm over. But thank you very much for your attendance. We're very excited to have you on board with Sonder. Any questions at all, please surface those to your Sonder champions within your organisations, who can then come back to their customer success manager at Sonder. Have a great day, everybody. We'll chat soon.